Fearless Gamers, Matt here for Fearless Games, and welcome back to another episode of The Joy of Painting Minis, and we are continuing on with doing Laddermore. We painted up her hair and her fabric pieces brown, we did some metal bits on her as well, and painted up all the gold parts on her armor. And so we're going to continue on with this model. We're going to use the following paints that you see on your screen, and when we last left off, we used an armor wash to put some black circles around all the little tiny rivets on her gold armor, on the gold of her armor. So what I'm now going to do is take a brighter gold and just going to tap a little bit of gold, tap just a little bit on those same rivets, and then we'll have a really bright dot with a little black line kind of outlining it. And that'll help give the just a little bit of extra highlight on the gold pieces of her armor. Okay. And she's going to, one of these things is, I want to give her a shot on the field. I haven't had a chance to play Warmachine in a while, mainly because of just my job that I do on Thursdays, but since it's a sports-related job that doesn't do baseball, I might get some free time coming up once the playoffs are over, and then I can actually play again. Though I don't have a very competitive army setup, I have not a whole lot stuff to be competitive with. One of the reasons why I picked up Laddermore was, as I said, because she could help with bringing my list up to a little bit more of a competitive edge. I'm not sure if that has changed much with any of the newer updates. She should still be pretty good. Okay. Add a little gold tips to the bottom here. Alright, so now with that, we are ready to move on to the next step, which I'm first going to fix up the brown pieces that got some gold on it when I was applying the gold color to her. And another thing that you'll notice, another thing about this that's different than, like, say, my 40k stuff is one of these things, blah. You'll very rarely notice me reusing paint colors. And, like, usually I'll use a paint color, and then that'll be it, it'll be done with. And I'll put it aside, and we'll never see it again. Mainly because of just the simple, more 1-2 step procedure that I'm using with these models versus the 40k stuff, where everything's like layers upon layers of different colors and the whatnot. And there we go. So now, going to finish up the metal, doing a quick highlight color on that, which again is going to be, this one's going to be a dry brushing technique. Just because I don't need a whole lot, just enough to help bring out the edges of the model, of the metal pieces here. So just a quick okay. Boom. So now, going to move on to the finishing up the brown of her outfit. So I'm going to take first a wash and coat all the pieces that brown fabric with a washed color. Good thing I had that cap on, or else that would have been very bad. That's one thing I will notice. I have horrible luck with not dropping my I have a bad luck with dropping the P3 paints and spilling them all over. So, and it's always like the ones that I'm going to use frequently that I drop, so I end up losing a lot of paint, and then it's just like, oh, half that paint went to no good use. And it's always something that I will be using like a bunch of. It's never the paint where it's like, oh, I only use very little, so I got 1 month instead of 2 months. It's like more of the paints, it's like, oh, I've got to get a new one in a week. And there. So, seeing up here, go now move on to what's the most notorious of all Cygnar pieces, the blue. We're going to first put on a dark blue. That will be befitting Cygnar. That's one thing I will say I do enjoy about P3 paints over the GW is they basically, spell it out. This is a highlight color. This is a base coat color. So there's no guesswork when it comes to what paint is which. So yeah, this is I'm just painting up the whole blue, armor of this character. One of the reasons also, again, why I try and go for a little bit more of a simpler look is in this game, I feel like the characters it's more the design of their armor. I feel like a lot of their stuff is very, standard issue for a lot of it. Whereas with 40k, it's always, their armor's so, every, armor's distinct and unique and has its own, and a lot of it has their own names and such, so it's one thing that I like about this, one thing that, I find intriguing about this is how dramatically simple this stuff is. Versus, the 40k line where everything is super unique and has its own little piece of history and own story behind how it got its name and such, and there's not really like that, really. Okay, so now the video camera ran out of time. I didn't realize I was running so low. All that really happened was I was continue painting the blue on this gal. And so we're going to continue on with painting her up just a little bit longer before I call it a day. And so we're going to continue on with painting up the model. So, get my blue out. And so what I was saying before the camera ran out was also one thing I love about model painting is just watching the model come to life. It's just seeing the transformation between this plain blank set to this depending on how good you are painting, this very realistic looking miniature. It just in general, it just starts, you start seeing essentially what you're visualizing in your head for how this thing would look, and seeing it turn into that. That's one of the really cool things about watching these models, is when painting these models, is just watching the change from just a generic looking miniature to a full-on colored mini that is unique in the sense that it's the only one that's colored that way, because you're the only person. Granted, you may copy someone and such, but this is yours, and you get to see essentially the progress that your work is making, which is always fun to watch. And just again, it's like an evolution. You're seeing the model, or transformation. You're seeing the model become the character. In a sense, it's getting, for lack of a better word, gaining life as you paint it up, which is always something that I enjoy watching with these. And this is actually a nice welcome relief, because recently what I've been working on is 1,000 Suns for a league that I'm in part of. It's an escalation league. I use the escalation league as a way to get my 1,000 Suns out of the unpainted state and into the painted state, just so I have more options for armies to play when I'm at the gaming stores. And plus, I just really want to finish up those guys. And they're coming out really well. If maybe later, in the later episode, I'll paint one of the models for a session of this series here. We'll see, because it does take me quite a while to paint one of those miniatures. Okay. We're almost done. I was thinking of making her cape blue, but then I decided that may be a little too much blue for her. Give her a little something different to help make her pop a bit. So I'll think of another color. What exactly? I'm not sure yet, but I'll think of something between episodes. Now we can... Oh, no, now we're almost done. Okay, So, almost. Now we're going to almost run out of time here, which is good because we're about to finish up her model. And then okay. Alrighty, so we will end it here. I'll finish up her hand here off camera. That way we can jump into the very next piece of the model that much sooner. So, thank you all for watching, and until next time, fearless gamers, take care!